Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Erica, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Monday. I hope all is well with you, and I hope your day has gotten off to a great start. If you are on the East Coast and you are experiencing the snow and the blizzard, certainly my prayers are with you. I know that it's very difficult when you have that kind of weather. I'm here in the DMV area. We got some snow, but it wasn't bad at all, particularly how it was a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, we were stuck. We got snow, but we got ice, like several inches of ice on top of the snow. So it was hard to kind of get going, get back out. You know, the streets were really, really bad. We couldn't really get around like we needed to. But you know, we're up and running again now. So I'm glad that we didn't get hit hard again. But there are people, especially in the northern region, like New York, Philly, Jersey, Boston, all of those New England states, they're getting hit really, really hard with snow, actually with blizzards. They're supposed to get like a foot or over a foot of snow. So if you are part of that, please know that you are in my prayers. I hope you stay safe. I hope you're safe and warm. You have all the food, the water, you know, anything that you need. I hope the power stays on, and I hope that you can make it through this particular storm and come out of it on the other side where all is well, nothing missing, nothing broken. So I just wanted to say that at the beginning of my video because this is something that is going on. But you know me, I'm here to do my weekly review of Married to Medicine. This is season 12, episode 11, and it was called What Happens in Jamaica Stays in Jamaica. And if you have ever been to Jamaica, Jamaica's a good time. I don't care if you've been once, twice, 10 times, 20 times, however many times you've been, you know that Jamaica is always a good time. As a matter of fact, I can't wait to go back. So it's good that the ladies, this is their annual couples trip, and they are going to Jamaica this time. So the show opens up, of course, with their normal montages. And of course, I took my notes here. And one of the things that I said initially in my notes, I said Brandy is doing the thing. She is getting the people together in Atlanta. I don't know if Nurse Brandy does, I don't know if she's part owner of like the little cosmetic practice where she works, or if she's just an employee there. But either way, Brandy is getting the people together. I love Nurse Brandy. I think she's great for the show. I think she will have a great story, not only with her family, but just even with her professional career. Brandy was a full-time nurse, but now she has gotten into like another field where she's doing a lot of the cosmetic work. We know that, you know, people are definitely into getting their Botox, their fillers, and all types of cosmetic procedures done. And Brandy seems to be, like I said, giving the people what they want. She definitely has like a good, I guess what they call in the medical field, bedside manner. She's very friendly, and it seems like the people are coming to her. So shout out to Nurse Brandy. I hope the business is booming. I hope that you can use this Married to Medicine platform to sort of launch out into better, greater, deeper things. But it seems like, girl, you're doing it, and you know, I love to see it. This is what the show is all about, so I love to see them in their element, and Nurse Brandy is definitely in her element with the cosmetic procedure. So shout out to her. The next scene, we see Angel. Angel is also a nurse, but Angel also wants to have an acting career. She said this is a lifelong dream of hers. She's actually starring in a movie. She said she had the lead role. I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but the ladies came out to premiere the movie. They were all sitting around talking right before the actual premiere, so they were waiting to actually go into the theater. So they were just having a conversation. Dr. Simone said that, you know, hey, it's time for our couples trip. Everyone, of course, is invited. She said normally Cecil and I host the trip. She said we haven't been in the best place, so we decided to let Toya and Eugene, Dr. Eugene, take over the trip. some of the ladies seem to be a little taken aback by that. And let me just say that Heavenly and Dr. Jackie weren't there. The rest of the ladies were there, but Heavenly and Dr. Jackie weren't there. And Toya wasn't there either. You know, you could tell Dr. Contessa was a little taken aback. Even Qua said, you know, I don't like this, Simone. And Simone was saying, you know, Dr. Contessa even said, like, hey, is this, you know, this seems kind of rocky. Is everything okay? You know, or should we be worried? And, you know, Simone said possibly. And you know, we know that Dr. Simone has expressed that even again this season that she may want to separate from Cecil. I don't know where they are today. We'll probably find out at the reunion. But Simone has expressed a lot of disdain, you know, a lot of things that she's very unhappy about in her marriage. So we really don't know where we are. But then I also had another thought about why Dr. Simone was saying that her and Cecil weren't going to do the couples trip, and let me explain what I heard. I just happened to run across a video here on YouTube. Her name is Queen Sheba Darling. She's a YouTuber, content creator, has some really good content. And I just happened to run across her video, and the video was about Simone being sidelined and not being able to film because Heavenly went to HR, she went to the exec, she went to the producers of the show and said that she didn't feel safe around Dr. Simone. We know that Dr. Simone and Heavenly had a little incident a couple of episodes or a few episodes back where Simone, they were going to take a picture together. Simone removed Heavenly's hand and said, I don't want to take a picture with any, you know, this fake, you know, BI. And apparently Heavenly got upset. She went to HR. She took it a step further. She went to the execs. She went to execs of, I think it's purveyors of pop. She went to them and said, hey, I don't feel safe around Simone. I don't want to film with her. And so the producers had to sit Dr. Simone out and not even let her film. The execs had to actually review the footage before they allowed Simone to come back. So I was sort of taken aback. I have been saying, if you follow me consistently, I've said in a couple of my reviews, you know, something's up with Heavenly and Simone. I don't know what it is, but something's up with them. I did say that, and I felt like Heavenly wanted to get Simone off the show. I had no idea that this is what was going on, but when I saw and when I listened to Queen Sheba Darling's video, it made perfect sense to me. And now I can say for myself, I wasn't too far off from what I was feeling and what I was thinking and what I even tried to even convey to, you know, my viewers and the people who actually watch my videos, that yeah, there is some tension between them and it's a lot deeper than we think and a lot deeper than we know. And now that we know, like I said, with Queen Sheba saying she had some insiders to give her this information, it makes perfect sense. So again, maybe Dr. Simone and Cecil would have hosted the couples trip, but maybe because she was sidelined and maybe they weren't even sure she was going to be able to finish out the season. So, you know, they had to choose Toya and Eugene to actually host the trip. And we could see that something wasn't all the way there, but we'll get into it as we go on. And let me ask you guys a question. Why hasn't Dr. Jackie and Curtis ever hosted a couples trip? We know Dr. Contessa and Scott haven't. Dr. Contessa just hosted the girls trip, so she wouldn't turn around and host the couples trip. But Dr. Jackie is an OG of this show, and she and Curtis have never hosted a trip. I mean, at this point, Quad can even host a trip. I mean, Quad has been on the show consistently pretty much for at least 10 of those seasons. I know a couple of seasons Quad was like a friend of, but Quad could even host a trip. I mean, yeah, it's a couples trip, but still in all, Quad is a part of the cast, so she should be able to host a trip. So I'm just kind of wondering, why does it have to be the same people over and over and over again? But anyway, Mimi was sitting there, the girls were sitting there talking, and Mimi asked Dr. Simone, is Toya a safe friend? And, you know, Simone said, yeah, of course. And so Mimi was saying basically she doesn't trust Toya. She doesn't believe that Toya and Eugene have the best marriage. All of those things. Well, we understand that Toya and Mimi have somewhat butted heads. And I said, I wrote right here in my notes, Mimi, if you would get out of Heavenly's behind, then you should get to know Toya for yourself. Toya being the host of the trip is not going to take away from you and your husband Steve having a great time. You're not going with Toya and Dr. Eugene alone. You're going with several other couples. Several of the ladies will be there. You're going to have all these activities, all this fun stuff going on. You would have the time of your life. Certainly Toya and Eugene should not be a factor in whether you and your husband, who need a break from the kids or just from your daily life, certainly you're not going to let them ruin your time. So I was like, kind of like, okay, Mimi, she's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. She's been doing it for a while. I wanted to really like Mimi. I thought Mimi would be okay, but I'm just not really feeling Mimi, but that's just me. So Angel herself is also still angry with Toya about what Toya did with her friend. And I know that they're going to probably talk about that a little bit more. So we will see how this trip goes. They flip the scene and they go to Toya and Eugene talking about hosting the trip. Toya was telling Eugene, hey, we're going to take over. Simone and Cecil aren't going to do it, so we're going to take over. So they were just trying to discuss that. But anyway, they just have like a little light discussion about it. There was nothing really going on with that other than the fact that they agreed to do it. And so the ladies watched the movie. It was so funny because Dr. Contessa, I wrote down here, Dr. Contessa is such a hype artist. Dr. Contessa basically slept through most of the movie. We don't know if she slept through all of the movie, half of the movie, or some of the movie, but they showed Dr. Contessa sleeping. And then she got up and was like, yay, you did such a wonderful job. I love you. You're great. You're amazing. Girl, you asleep. How much of it did you see? How amazing was Angel in this movie? If you were sleeping, Dr. Contessa, but it was like a little cute little funny thing, you know. Hey, I don't know. Dr. Contessa was tired and she slept, and they showed her sleeping while all the other ladies were watching the movie. They seemed to be enjoying the movie. Dr. Contessa was catching up on her Z's. So whatever it was, like I said, Contessa, you are a serious hype artist. We love, you know, your positive attitude, but girl, just be real. Like, girl, I fell asleep. Girl, I didn't even see it. Girl, I need to come back and see it. But anyway, that was just really it. That was really, you know, the gist of that actual scene. So the couples are packing for the trip. Simone even mentioned that it feels kind of weird that they're not hosting the trip. And I feel the same way. You know, I know that Dr. Simone and Cecil have had some issues. Of course, they're not, you know, they may not be in the best place. And I don't think that we need them to be pretentious or fake about it. They have been very honest about where they are. But Simone and Cecil are just that couple on the show that everyone kind of gets along with. They seem to, you know, they don't take themselves too seriously. They like to have a good time. And I've never heard any of the couples say that while they were hosting that they were bad hosts. Simone, I know they clown Simone about some of the boats that she's picked out in the past, but for the most part, Simone and Cecil have been you know, pretty good hosts. They show Mimi and Steve. They're talking about their outfits. Of course, Steve feels like he's the more stylish one of the two in his marriage with Mimi. So, of course, he's kind of like judging her and telling her what she should take and what she shouldn't. So that's like typical couple stuff, you know, where you're trying to, most of the time, women are trying to help the man to put his stuff together. But then there are a lot of, you know, very fashionable men. There are some men who can really dress. You know, they always look nice. They always put outfits together. I know there are some women who really aren't into fashion, and so they need a little help. And so, you know, Steve was trying to give Mimi, you know, a little help, a little more fashion sense, I would say. So King and Quad, they were at home packing. King was joking about taking his Speedos, and Quad was like, look, we're not in Europe. You're definitely not taking those. So that was just a little scene with them. And we see Nurse Brandy and Shamar, her husband Shamar, they were discussing going on the trip. They were packing as well, talking about their outfits. But the unfortunate thing is that Nurse Brandy said that she and Shamar don't have a lot of family or really, really close friends around them in Atlanta. I think they're from North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. I know they went to school there and they met in school, or they've known each other since they were young. But I don't think they have a lot of family, like I said, or close friends that they can really trust to actually watch their children. So Shamar is only coming on the trip for one day, and I think Brandy said that she was coming a little later because she wanted to make sure that the kids, they had like their first day of school or something. So anyway, it would have been great for them to, to really be able to enjoy the trip. But of course, when you're parents, your responsibility is to your children first, and that is what's most important. So, Toya and Eugene, they were the last couple to do their packing, and they were just discussing what they were going to do with the couples. I didn't hear anything that stood out to me as to what they had planned, but of course, we'll see as the episodes progress. So the couples arrived in Jamaica. It was a little weird because it seems like people were on different flights. Some people got delayed. I know Mimi and Steve got delayed. Dr. Jackie came without Curtis. She said that he was in a golfing tournament in Canada, so he was running behind. I think Quad King, Angel, Heavenly, and Dr. Damon, they were on another flight. Toya, Dr. Eugene, Dr. Jackie, Dr. Simone and Cecil, and I think Brandy, they all flew together, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, I know even Cecil said he didn't even fly with Simone because Simone was getting in first class. She has some type of some type of plan where she can fly first class. He was saying that Simone didn't want to give up her seat and her luxury and her comfort, so he flew another way. I don't know if it was a Delta plan or something. I'm not sure of the airline. That's why I'm not saying what it is, because I wasn't sure about the airline. But I know he said he flew on another airline altogether. So it just seems like I said, the trip seems to be disjointed. Normally, they all come together. They travel together. They arrive together. They were greeted by, normally like dancers or whatever the case may be. That is not happening. All Toya was concerned about is that they got on a Mercedes Sprinter and stuff like that. They went to the actual resort. King is from Jamaica, so he's happy to be there. He says no place like home, so to speak. He was greeted right away. Another guy just immediately recognized that he was from Jamaica, and so they all went to the resort. Seemed like it was really, really nice. Dr. Eugene, when he was there, he said instead of doing like a pledge of allegiance, they were going to do a pledge of friendship. And if you notice, I put in the sidebar in my notes, I said Damon was showing a little disdain for Dr. Eugene. He didn't seem to be interested. Dr. Eugene and Dr. Damon have always seemed to have had a pretty good relationship because Dr. Damon actually gave Dr. Eugene his first job. But I think with all the tension with Toya and Heavenly is sort of starting to play on their friendship and how close they are. Dr. Damon seemed to be in a whole nother world. He was turning his head when Eugene was talking. Go back and watch it. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Make sure you check that out when they're talking. And what Eugene was saying was actually really good. He was saying, look, we're going to try to make sure that the group is not divided. We want to have a trip. We want to be respectful. We want to be kind. We want to have a great time. He said kindness, respect, and camaraderie. That's like the theme of the trip. He said the couples will be asked to take a time out if they cut up. And I know they were joking because you can't force adults to do that. But it was just like a joke. So Eugene, he meant well, but I don't know if it was taken well simply because of all of the tension between like Dr. Simone, Dr. Heavenly. Damon is in the middle of all of that because Heavenly is his wife. It just seemed to be a very awkward moment. And you guys let me know what you thought about that. So what they're going to do for the first night, King said they're going to a real club. They're not, they're not going to do like the commercial stuff, maybe at the resort, stuff like that. King was like, no, we're going to a VIP area. We're going to a club. I already called. I already made the arrangements. Let's go. And I was with King with that. Of course, Dr. Simone and Cecil are down. Toya and Dr. Eugene are down. Brandy was down. I think Angel didn't go. I was surprised about that but Angel said she had to do a term paper and it was due, I think, within 24, 48 hours. So she had a couple of papers that she had to write. Dr. Heavenly and Damon did not go. And then, of course, we know Dr. Jackie was not going to the club. I would have been with the people going to the club. Let's go and have a great time. That's what we're here here to do. We're not here to actually just sit in the room. And I know some people, everybody's idea of vacation is different. You know, sometimes you do just want to relax and chill. But if you can get out and have a good time too, that's where I'm going. Heavenly came to Dr. Jackie's room. Dr. Jackie and Heavenly started talking about the Med Gala. Heavenly was like, oh Lord, you know, we're on vacation. Why do we have to talk about this? And I was with Heavenly, why? But we do know that the Med Gala is coming up. And of course, Jackie is very concerned about it. You know, Jackie's kind of like a stick in the mud in a way. She's very serious. You know, you notice that whenever Jackie's in the scene, the conversation has to be a little more serious. It's not always a light conversation because Jackie is more like the mother of the group. But Jackie was just saying, like, this is her baby. She started the Med Gala. She's concerned about it. The time is of the essence. And Heavenly was like, look, you got it. You put Toya in charge of this. You basically have been going easy on Toya. So this is what you get. So that was the end of that. The couples, they, like I said, they went to the club. It was called Pier 1. And like I said, the fun people, the fun crew was out partying and having a great time. And like I said, that's exactly who I would have wanted to party with and have a great time with. Like I said, the next day, they said 10 hours later, they're doing a community event where normally they do medical missions whenever they go on vacation, but the medical missions are normally toward the end of the trip. Like normally that's probably like the third episode of their vacation. This time it was actually the first, like one of the first things they did. So they didn't do the actual medical mission. They did something different with the children. They were working with the children this time instead of the adults. They didn't take the blood pressures. They didn't do the health screenings or anything like that, but they were working with the children. King was excited because he said he grew up in Jamaica. He knew what it was to receive free stuff, to have hard times. And he said he had to persevere through some of those things when he moved here to the United States. And so he loves to give back to the community. So of course, Quad was curling her hair. King was like, let's go. Time is of the essence. And we know how men are. They look, you know, if you're an on-time person, you don't want to sit around and wait for anybody. I'm a person, I'm typically early wherever I go. And so having to just wait around for people, it is nerve-wracking. And King was getting a little nervous and he was getting a little frustrated only because he wanted things to go well for their little community event. As a matter of fact, I think he said his cousin had flown down to Jamaica to help them out. So they were getting ready for that, and it seemed like that everyone was actually excited about that. Now, finally, Dr. Scott and Dr. Contessa, they arrived, so they're all on board for the medical mission. Steve and Mimi finally got there, and everyone is ready to, you know, complete this community mission. So the people, they actually meet the children, and they start talking to them. Of course, they start giving them positive affirmations about how they can do anything. They all explain what they do. But before, let me just say that, because before all of that, let me just say that because I got a little ahead of myself. Dr. Jackie, Brandy, Toya, Dr. Eugene, Dr. Simone, Heavenly, and Damon were on the bus. Dr. Jackie started talking about, well, this is how it started. Toya said, well, yeah, you know, she said it's kind of different, you know, having like the single people here on the trip, and Brandy's here solo. So I just want to know like how they feel about this and how they will contribute or what they have to contribute. Well, first of all, that is like a little sore spot with me. I think that we know that there are single people on this show. Like Quad has been single for some time, but Quad fits in. Like I said, Quad has just been on the show forever. So it's either you're going to change the whole premise of the show to all couples, or you need to sort of get off of the thing where you keep talking about married people versus single. Toya does that a lot, especially on the couples trips. I mean, Dr. Jackie was there by herself. Curtis hadn't gotten there yet, and Brandy was there by herself because Shamar hadn't arrived there, but they're married people. And just because their partners or their spouses weren't there wasn't mean that they weren't supposed to like have a great time. I mean, what were they supposed to be doing? Like sitting there? You're in Jamaica. I mean, are you supposed to sit and mope around or sit in your room the entire time? Like you could still have a great time. So Toya was saying, you know, I want to know how they feel about it and them contributing to the conversation or just giving advice about how you sort of function in that type of arena, without having a spouse. So Heavenly was like, well, I don't want to hear that. That's just like a broke bee trying to tell me how to make some money. She said they have nothing to contribute. So Brandy was like, well, you can learn from anybody. And I agree with that. Sidebar, just because you're married does not mean that you're mature and you have your life together. If you are of a legal age, you can get married. But that does not mean, again, that you have the spirit of a husband or the spirit of a wife. Some people are married, they fight like dogs, they're immature, they're crazy, they have all these control issues, all these issues from their childhood that they never worked out, and they've come together as one. But it does not mean that it's the healthiest situation. There are a lot of single people who are wise, and they do kind of give like good advice. It depends on the person. So, I do understand that when you're married, that yes, it is a difference. You are one. It's a little difference. But at the same time, I don't think that you should ever devalue anyone because they're single and say that they have absolutely nothing to contribute to a conversation. I just think that's foolish to me. I think that's very idiotic. And I think that Heavenly sounded really crazy saying that, but we know how Heavenly is. Heavenly is very codependent on Damon, and it's all about my man, and there's nothing else. I mean, we know that Heavenly is very successful, but if we were just watching Heavenly with the couples, we wouldn't think that it's like Heavenly wants to literally suck every breath that Damon breathes. It's like if Damon breathes and it's like Heavenly wants to say, like she's that type of person, and it's kind of annoying. But anyway, so then they started talking about the Med Gala. And like I said, Jackie, when she's around, they're going to have some serious conversations. It can't be light fun, every now and again. But if she's leading the conversation, it's going to be a serious conversation. So anyway, Brandy said, well, I guess they were talking about people not contributing. So Brandy was like, well, no one has ever really had a conversation with me about it, so I don't know much about it. So they got into it. So, of course, Heavenly, in true Heavenly fashion, well, Toya, you're in charge, but we wanted to teach you a lesson. We're not trying to help you because you didn't, basically, you treated us like garbage the last couple of years when we did it. So whatever problems and issues you're having, well, you just deal with it. And so she said, we weren't going to help you, and you really need to apologize for what you've done. So Dr. Eugene was a little upset. He's listening to the whole conversation. And he said, well, that would never happen. He was saying Toya didn't owe anyone an apology. He's taking up for his wife. So Toya and Heavenly were going back and forth. So Damon said they had just arrived at the community center, or the facility where they were going to meet the children. The children can hear them outside. Damon did say, let's pray before we go in, but Toya did not hear him. Toya was sort of talking, and so Heavenly was like, my man is talking, you need to shut up and you need to respect him and this, that, and the other. And I mean, Heavenly's just going off as usual. She's off her rocker. And because really and truly, Heavenly, that's your husband, but no one has to respect him. If you are going back and forth with someone, like I said, Toya really didn't even hear Dr. Damon. She was like, well, hey, basically, if I'm talking, I'm not going to stop talking for, basically, I'm going to defend myself. I'm not going to stop talking because you tell me to talk and just listen to your husband. I'm not going to do that. But Damon's intentions were good. Toya just really did not hear. So eventually, Damon said something about the prayer again. Toya caught it. She prayed. Well, anyway, like I said, they went in, and now we're right back where I was, where I said that, all of the people had arrived. Contessa, Scott, Steve, Mimi, everyone was there. Steve was telling the kids that he played football, and he was telling them about that. Heavenly was talking to the children. She said a curse word. Of course, the children have probably heard it before, but Heavenly does have to be a little careful when you are talking to children. I know you're being yourself and all of that, but you do have to sort of censor yourself. And so everyone was kind of like, oh my God, like Heavenly just does not have a filter, and this is not good. But anyway, it was a great mission. Like I said, they took the kids out to play football. They offered them anything, like if they needed like toiletries, you know, they gave them little packets. They were very interactive with the kids, and I just thought that that was a really, really good mission. Quad met King's cousin. Quad was very proud of the things that King said when he was talking to the children about how he moved here to the United States, but how he grew up in Jamaica. That was very, very inspirational for them, and it was like a good time. So everybody seemed to be having a good time. So of course, Heavenly, every time, you know, they do something like this, Heavenly fate becomes all of a sudden, you know, emotional, and she's touched, and she wanted to apologize to Toya. She just doesn't want any tension with Toya. Well, you know, on the you know, ride to the community center or facility, we couldn't tell, but she apologized to Toya. Toya said she didn't accept the apology. She kind of brushed it off, but she didn't accept it because she said Heavenly will say she apologizes, and, you know, she wants everybody to be okay, but hours later, she'll be right back to her normal self, doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. And I agree with Toya as far as that's concerned. So like I said, Heavenly said that things will be different. It's never going to be different because Heavenly's going to always be Heavenly. So the men were talking. Dr. Eugene, he said that, you know, he's always inspired, and he loves to do this because when he was younger, the only black doctor he had was his pediatrician. So Damon was like, yeah, you know, he said some of them have really been called to be doctors. Damon said he really didn't want Heavenly to get involved with the political thing. He did not want her to throw her hat in the ring. Of course, he would support her, but he really did not want her to have to divide her time between him and sort of being out there to run for her seat for Congress. King said he understood. He said, but you do have to support your partner in that way. Dr. Eugene also thanked King for sort of helping with the community event. He said it was a success, and he was grateful to King for just being there and helping out. King was like, of course, you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, I'm always going to come through for you. So they seem to have had, you know, have a bond with them. Toya said she also thanked everyone and said they're going to have a beautiful dinner. She said, you know, wear what you want, be comfortable, but we're going to have a really, really nice dinner plan. And of course, as the show was going off, they were showing arguments from next week. I saw Heavenly saying something to Quad about being married. Quad said, well, actually, I don't want to be married. Curtis said something to King about, well, it's something is said in the Bible about, you know, if you're not married, certain things. It looks like they're going to have a very heated discussion next week. And we're all here for it because that's what Married to Medicine is about. When they go on the couples trip, they do sometimes talk about hard topics, and that's what we want to see. So hopefully the next episode will be a little more together, and sort of it won't feel as disjointed as this one does. But I hope I've done my due diligence and explaining this or giving you my thoughts about it. This was my review. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and also share my video. I know sometimes, you know, just in your daily lives, you don't have time to watch this stuff all the time and sit in front of your TV. So if you know someone who likes the show and they just want to hear about what happened, girl, let them tune into my video and listen, and I try to give you and be as detailed as I possibly can. So again, thank you so much for your support. If you feel like you want to leave me a comment, please do so, because I would love to, you know, speak with you and just reply back to you. And also, let me know what you thought about this episode. Did you enjoy this episode? How did you feel about, you know, how do you feel about this group going forward? Do you think they need a cash shakeup? Do you feel like this group can really survive? What do you think about that? Also, how do you feel about Quad and King? We could kind of see the ending of their relationship on this episode. Please tell me what you thought about that. And how do you feel about Toya versus Mimi? You know, is it warranted? Are you on Mimi's side, or are you on Toya's side? Let me know what you think about that. And let me know if you're starting to see some, because even next week, guys, like I said in my video a few times ago, Dr. Damon and Dr. Eugene, they're going to butt heads. And it seems like something, I don't know if they're going to get into an altercation, but it looks to be very, very tense. And I've been saying in my videos that Damon is on the verge of exploding. So let me know what you think about that. And also, guys, just another reminder, if you have time, Queen Sheba, darling, listen to that review and listen to what she said about what Heavenly did to Simone. So I will see you on the next video. Again, have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye. Love you guys.